Hello, I'm Alice. Welcome to the Gusto Cook Along. If you joined us before, this is the second one we've done, and I'm the chef at Gusto. My name's Alice. Today we're making jerk chicken. It's on the menu at the moment. We're doing it in honour of Notting Hill Carnival, which is this weekend. But if you can't join us for Notting Hill Carnival, then we're making this. We're also making it because the weather's been a bit rubbish recently, it's been raining, and this is a nice, spicy, warming, comfort food dish that is very suitable. It's a cheering up dish, so that's why we've chosen it. So the winner of this jerk chicken cook-along is going to be tweeting and Instagramming your winning dish, and you're going to win a month's supply of Gusto recipe boxes, which is a huge incentive, is it not? All you need to do is hashtag your plated food. It's hashtag Gusto Pro. So Gusto Pro, Instagram, Twitter, that's what you need to do. Okay, so first of all, set your oven to 180 degrees. I always do this as soon as I come in from work. Get your oven really hot, it helps to cook the food better, quicker, more evenly. So oven at a nice temperature, 200, 180, 220 actually, why not whack it up, let's get it really hot. Okay, jerk chicken, okay, I'm just going to run through the ingredients. If you are cooking along with us, you'll already have them in your Gusto box. If you're not, we've got the recipe online and you can cook it whenever you like in your own time. Okay, so we've got some spices. We've got allspice, which is a lovely warming spice. It's a bit sort of Christmassy. It's like sort of cinnamony and warming and sweet and lovely. Jerk chicken tends to be hot. Normally you'd use Scotch bonnet chilli, which is like that. It looks like a little bell type thing. It's really, really, really spicy. We have sent it out before, and it was a little bit too hot for some people, so we've actually changed it to a regular chilli like this. But some like it hot. If you do want to make this again, go for a Scotch bonnet. It's painful. This is hot food. I like pain, bit of a fan of pain, but if you don't, use a regular one. Okay, what else have we got? We've got cinnamon. Cinnamon gives jerk chicken a lovely warmth and a kind of, it's a bit like allspice, but it's kind of like that warming, Christmassy feel. We have got honey. Honey is for sweetness. This is a really quick recipe. It's only like 30 minutes, so we need to get some sweetness and instant flavour in there. So honey makes it sticky and sweet and lovely. Soy sauce, we've added that because we've Gustified this recipe. Soy sauce is just great if you're not really confident with seasoning stuff very well, like you're not sure how much salt to add, soy sauce is a good way to go. We've portioned it for you, so you're going to get it spot on. Okay, we've got some spring onions. If you are a Gusto customer, like a regular Gusto customer, you will be very familiar with these. We use them in a lot of recipes. The reason being is because they are very quick to chop, they're quick to prepare, and they give you that oniony feel without having to chop with a whole onion, which can be a bit of a faff. What else have we got? We've got thyme. Thyme is lovely, fragrant, woodlandy kind of herb. It's a little bit long to prepare, but it gives jerk chicken that. What can we say about thyme? It's kind of giving it that earthiness, I'd say. Basmati rice. Standard basmati rice. This is for your rice and peas. Now, they're not really peas, they're actually kidney beans. Why they call it rice and peas, I'm not quite sure, but it's delicious. It gives, it's a really nice side dish for your spicy chicken to rest on. Of course, we've got chicken thighs with the skin on. Skin on because we get nice crispy skin, and fat from the chicken gives it a nice chicken flavour. Fat equals flavour, so that's why we're using chicken thighs. We've got some garlic. No Gusto recipe would be complete without garlic. We've got some cider vinegar, which is a really sharp vinegar, so you actually need less of it than regular vinegars. And we've got some sugar just to give it that extra bit of sweetness. That is optional, you don't need to add more sugar if you don't want to, but we like to inject as much flavour into it as possible. Okay, so let's start. If you want to ask any questions during this cook along, then do tweet in. Our Twitter is Follow Gusto. And we've got Kira, who's handling all of that, who's going to do a great job. Any questions at all? No questions too hard. Okay, so I've got 2 spring onions. Check your spring onions. Sometimes there's a little bit of grit in there. There is in mine, so I'm just going to give that a little wash under the sink. Bear with me. Give them a bit of a shake out. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Okay, so sharp knife. We're just going to take the root ends off. And we are going to finely slice them. You can do it on an angle like I do. But you can chop any way you want. This is a nice rustic recipe.
Question about
oh, hello Kira, we've got a question.
When you're cutting normal onions, it's probably not relevant for spring onions, but when you're cutting normal ones, how do you stop yourself from crying?
How do you stop yourself from crying with a normal onion? That's a good question. Okay, so there's a couple of things you can do. One thing you can do is, it's actually a bit of a weird one, but you can put a spoon in your mouth, like that. Like that. I'm not going to do that because I won't be able to talk, so that would defeat the purpose of this cook along. Another thing you can do is light a candle near you. Apparently it kind of burns off the fumes. I have been known to kind of have a line of candles, and I've had to chop many, many onions. It looks a bit like a seance type thing, or a wake, but it also could be perceived as romantic. Does that answer the question? Oh, another thing you can do is, so the root of your onion is what's going to give you that really, like allium rush to your eyes. So always get rid of the roots of your onion. And another thing to do is wash your knife. Your knife has got all of the juices on it. So regularly wash your knife when you're chopping onions. That's about all I'd say. Okay. So we've got our chopped spring onions there. Kidney beans, right. We're going to drain them. I'm just going to grab a bowl. You don't want any of the juices, so drain them. And also, just give them a little rinse, just to get rid of that slightly gluey stuff that collects with the beans. I think it's called bean juice. So I'm just going to give them a rinse. Okay. What next? Okay, so we're going to heat our pan for our rice and peas. So we're making rice and peas now. I just get a pan like that. You're going to need a fitting lid, and we're going to put a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil in the pan. Vegetable oil is important because it gets things really hot. Olive oil won't get your food as hot, it's got a lower smoking temperature, so that's why we use vegetable oil. You can also use coconut oil, probably quite nice for jerk chicken if you want a slightly healthier oil, or you can use rapeseed oil, they both do the same job. So we want like a medium heat start. And just wait for your oil, like 20 seconds, you want your oil hot, otherwise it won't fry your spice well. And to this we are going to add cinnamon. Love cinnamon. Most people think cinnamon, baking, desserts. No. Cinnamon is an amazing spice for savoury dishes because it gives it this natural sweetness. So, when your oil is slightly sort of more liquid than when you put it in, then you're ready to add your cinnamon. So we've got about a teaspoon of cinnamon, I'd say, going in there. And then what you do is you want to cook your spice for about 30 seconds, and what this does is it releases the flavour. Always cook spice, never just add it straight into the food, because what the oil does is it kind of cook the spice slightly, and you can start to smell it. You don't want to take it more than 30 seconds because it will burn the spice. So it's a delicate thing with spices. Just as soon as you can smell it, then that's when you're ready to go. Okay, I'm going to add all my spring onions to the cinnamon. And you should hear them sizzle. If they're not sizzling, then your oil is not hot enough. You should hear your food cook. Listen to your food. Very important. Okay. So I'm just going to move them around. I'm going to add my rice, 150 grams. And you just want to coat that, a bit like when you're making a risotto, you want to coat your rice in the oil and the onions. Just going to add a little bit more oil. So you've got this lovely rice, spring onion, cinnamon mix. Then we add our kidney beans straight in. Give a little bit of a stir. It's all nice and even. And then we add our water. Now, water, you're going to need about 360, 375 mils of water. If you don't have a measuring jug, get a measuring jug. Very important for gusto recipes. And you'll have perfect rice. So that goes in. And we're going to bring it up to the boil. You want a high heat for this because boiling is when the bubbles are really frothing, they're really lively. It's anything below that, you're simmering your food. So bringing it to the boil means rolling bubbles, really like lively bubbles and stuff. Okay, any questions while my rice comes to the boil?
I've had a question through from Annie asking how you get your inspiration when you're coming up with new recipes.
Ooh, inspiration. I think we're all just, the chefs at Gusto are just really greedy. We just love food, a bit obsessed with food. You kind of have to be with this job. I mean, personally, I like to look through a lot of food magazines, sort of see what's happening in the world, trends. We did a cauliflower mash the other day. That was inspired by what's going on at the moment. Cauliflower's really trendy. I look at a lot of blogs. I like to eat out at a lot of restaurants. That's a very difficult part of the job. And where else do we go? We just go on the internet. We look at a lot of cookbooks. Look at chefs that we like. We recently did a dish with Theo Randall, who's a great chef that does amazing Italian recipes. Yeah, I'd say anywhere really. And we always put a bit of a Gusto twist on it. So Gusto recipes they need to be quick because you guys are obviously working, and everyone wants quick food when they're home from work. So we just try and put as much flavour in as possible, kind of keep it balanced and healthy. Yeah, that's probably what I'd say.
And what's your favourite Gusto meal today?
Favourite Gusto meal? Now that's really difficult. Okay, I'd probably say, so my favourite vegetarian Gusto meal is the beet burgers. We do these beetroot burgers, which are made with like cooked beetroot and oats, and they're absolutely amazing. They've got this natural sweetness, they're really healthy. We serve them with this tarragon mayonnaise, which is really counteracts the beetroot. It's kind of slightly aniseedy. We actually that was one of the recipes we won a Great Taste Award for recently, so we're really proud of that one. And what we do with the beetroot juice that we collect from that is we cook some red onions in it, and they become really silky and sort of lovely, and they go as a sort of red onion relish on top. So that's probably my favourite vegetarian one. We did a recipe recently that I loved, which is like a chicken and freekeh. Freekeh is a grain that we love. It's really healthy. It's got feta in it and cranberries and almonds. It's a bit like ottolenghi. I don't know if anyone knows ottolenghi, the chef. but it's this lovely sort of Middle Eastern tumble of chicken and spice and feta, and yeah, that's another one. What else, Remy, do you know? What else do you like? Oh, there's a pork schnitzel, which is one of the recipes that I actually got the job with Gusto when I designed. It's like a crumbed, breadcrumbed, flattened piece of pork, and we serve it with this lovely, apple slaw, like apple, potato, mustard slaw. That's a big one for me. So those are probably my three. But I mean, I like all Gusto recipes, I'm not biased. Okay, so my rice is just boiling. So this is the time to pop a lid on it. Turn the heat slightly down. And then you just leave your rice and peas, that's done till the end of the, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Just before I do that. Never be afraid of salt. And then that lid goes on and we just leave that. Okay. So, okay, what next? Okay, so garlic. It's garlic chopping time. 2 cloves of garlic. One thing I would say is really, I said it last time if you joined us last time, but it's really good to have a bowl, like a big bowl next to you. I use this for peelings. It kind of means, it's almost like a bin, and you put all of your scraps in there, and it means that, you know, like some people cook and then there's just like mess everywhere in the kitchen, like you have a delicious meal with the kitchen's a bonsai, and then after you've had your delicious meal, you're like, oh God. So having a bin next to you for scraps really, really helps with excess mess. So I'm just going to peel the skin off. Some garlic cloves are really stubborn and it just takes ages for some reason to get the skin off. How's everyone getting on at home? Have we got any more questions?
Asked by Sarah what wine would go well with the jerk.
Ooh, wine. I asked my uncle this earlier. Okay, so I'm not a massive wine person. I would probably say grab yourself a nice can of Jamaican lager. That's my preference. They're spicy, lager is always good. But my uncle is a wine critic, and I actually asked him this before. And he says he would recommend a dry Riesling from the Alsace, Germany or Australia for some reason. Probably because it's clean and it kind of cuts the spice. So yeah, that will just go with a nice beer. We're all going to be having beer after. Okay, so garlic. I'm going to chop my garlic. Actually, do you know what? I'm really lazy. When I say chop garlic in the recipes, you can just grate it. It's just so much easier. Use the big holes of your box grater. Or you can chop it finely, but it's probably going to take you a little bit longer. And shortcuts in my eyes are always good. Make sure that you scrape all of the little hidden bits of garlic inside. Okay. So I've got my garlic. Just run the knife over it again. I want it really finely chopped. And next we are moving on to chilli. Now, I mentioned before, normally you'd use a Scotch bonnet, but we're going with red chilli. Just cut the top off. Now, if you're serving this to kids, you probably want to take the seeds out, or if you're not a fan of chilli, take the seeds out. So you want to half your chilli lengthways, and if you don't like the heat, just get a teaspoon and just scrape the insides of the chilli out and just discard. Straight into your bin. I like plain, and a lot of my colleagues like plain, so I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to keep the seeds in. Jerk chicken should be spicy if you want to do it authentically. And then what you want to do is you just want to slice the chili into strips. We're going to finely chop it. So you want strips like that. Nice long fingers. and then just cut the other way. So you'll end up with a nice sort of finely chopped chili dice. Now, I'm going to put another chili in with the seeds in because I think we could all do with a bit of fire today. How's everyone getting on at home? Am I going too fast? Is anyone cooking along? Everyone caught up?
I've had a question if you're asking how you gauge how hot the marinade is going to be.
That's a really good question. And I think the only answer to that is taste your food. Like, not enough people taste their food. All the answers are there in the ingredients. So take a little bit of chili. Yeah, it's quite spicy. It's not that spicy. For me, I'm going to add it all. But honestly, anything that you're unsure of, apart from raw meat, taste it. I mean, when I was a pastry chef, before when I worked in kitchens, the chef who was a little bit scary used to make us taste the flour. You know, we had to taste everything. We had to taste the water. We had to taste the sugar. We had to taste the salt. Some salt is stronger than others. So just taste your food. Don't be afraid of it. But all the answers are there. And if it's too hot, then you'll know to put less in. Okay, is it time now? Just going to check my rice. My rice is looking pretty good. Check the rice. As you can see, there's not much water left. Can you see that? So I'm going to put that on the back, and I'm just going to turn the heat right down. Put the lid on. It's going to be perfect.
And I had a question from Claire about chili. She says she's heard that it's the white bits inside rather than the seeds themselves that are hot.
That's not strictly true, Claire. It's the seeds themselves that are hot. The only thing that the white pith will do is make it slightly bitter. So you can get rid of that if you want. It's the same with peppers, like big bell peppers. Always get rid of the white just because it adds a little bit of bitterness. So I get rid of that. Don't get rid of the seeds. The seeds are the things that will give you that kick. Okay, I've got thyme now. Lovely thyme. Thyme is a bit annoying to strip the leaves off, but that's what we've got to do. So this is going to take a little bit of time. What we need to do with thyme is, some thyme is woodier than others. It's like young thyme. You could probably just chop all of the stems with it. But I'm just going to strip, because these are quite woody, you don't want it, not nice to eat. You just want to strip the leaves off with your fingers, like that. And while I'm doing this, because this is going to take me a couple of minutes, I'd say, how are we all getting on at home? Everyone enjoying themselves? I hope everyone's drinking nice. I hope everyone's having a good time and drinking. It's been rubbish weather.
People at home would like to know what the best thing about working at Gusto is.
Best thing at working at Gusto. Well, coming up with recipes every day. So we come up with about 5 recipes a week. For me, it's just, I love it. It's really fun. It's really creative. It's really nice listening to everybody's feedback at home when we get taste scores in. It's really nice. I've got to say the people that I work with are amazing. We're a great company, and everyone's really passionate. And it's also really nice hearing from customers. You know, like some people we have never cooked before, and it's really nice hearing the enthusiasm, you know, that they get from cooking. And I think it's that thing of like taking the fear out of cooking is what's really rewarding. Also, some of our customers, you know, teaching their kids to cook. I think cooking is such a sort of, I think people can be really scared of it, and I think, you know, even if you cook from a recipe book, maybe you're not sure what the ingredients are and maybe you're a bit hesitant. But I think what we do best is we just remove the fear. And if you've never cooked rice properly before, you know, I used to cook rice terribly. I used to be really scared of rice. Now, with the amount of water that you put in and the kind of techniques that we've got down, it's not scary anymore, and it just becomes kind of second nature. So yeah, so that's the best thing. Obviously the people I work with as well. Got to say that because they're all around me right now. Okay, so I've got my thyme. I've got to pick my leaves off. I'm just gonna give them an extra little chop, just so that get rid of any of the stalks that are in there. And we are going to cook our chicken. It's chicken cooking time. We want a kind of wide base pan. If you have a tiny pan, your chicken will steam rather than pan fry. I'd recommend a non-stick pan because the washing up is a lot easier. It's a big deal for us, and also it's like easier to cook from a non-stick pan. Your food kind of it moves around a lot easier, and you get all of the food out at the end rather than the little bits that stick to it. So non-stick pan, wide base pan. Make sure you've got a lid for this, and also this needs to be oven proof because we are going to put the chicken into the oven in a couple more steps. So I'm going to put some oil in. Red oil again. This is going to get the chicken skins nice and crispy. This is what we want. So again, we want a nice medium-high heat. Let's wait for 20 seconds just so that the chicken can hit the pan and really crisp up.
Why do we use chicken thighs?
Why do we use chicken thighs? Because they're a lot tastier than chicken breasts, a lot more flavour. Mainly because they're a lot moister. Chicken breasts can often get overcooked. It takes less time to cook. Also, the fat on chicken skin is where the flavour is. So fat equals flavour. So I would say thighs all the way. But if you do want to use chicken breast, you can in this recipe. You just need to cook your chicken a lot less, so probably half the time I'd say. I'm just going to add a bit of salt to the chicken skin. You don't need to do this, but what it does is salt takes all the moisture out, so you'll get it a little bit crispier than you would if you didn't add salt. But again, that is optional. So my oil's nice and hot. I'm going to put my chicken skin side down, and you can hear it sizzle. That's a good sign. And I'm going to leave that for about 6-7 minutes. Be a little bit careful, it might spit. Stand back. Be warned. Okay, we're going to make our jerk chicken marinade. Now, you can buy jerk chicken, jerk spice. But we're making them our own because this is all about home cooking. Okay, so we want soy sauce. If you're cooking for 2, you're going to have 2 packets of soy sauce. Watching my chicken. If you're cooking for 4, you're going to have 4 because it's double. Soy sauce isn't traditional to jerk, but like I said before, in gusto, it just adds that saltiness. Don't need to worry about adding extra salt. Allspice. Allspice is a really good spice to have in your cupboard because it's sort of like a combination of cinnamon, cumin. It's kind of like this spice that it's from berries, but it kind of has this lovely Christmassy vibe. You can use it in baking, but it's almost like 5 spices in one itself. Gonna give it a little whisk. Honey, little cute jar of honey. This is gonna add stickiness, instant stickiness. Now these jars, you do have to be patient. Let it run for ages. Even go in with a teaspoon. Get all of that out. We've got people at home asking if we'll be able to come around every evening. everything is doing. I mean, I can try, but you know, sometimes I have to do my washing and life admin and stuff. I will try. We'll try and make this regular. We're going to be doing a lot more. I can't promise every evening, but I can try as almost once a week. Okay, so we're going to add now vinegar. This is our really tart cider vinegar. That's going to counterbalance the sweetness. So marinades are all about balance. Sweet, savoury, salty, bit of tartness, bit of spice. That's what you want from a marinade. I'm going to put all my garlic in there. I'm going to put all the chilli in, and I'm going to put all the thyme in. Now, it's already looking delicious. We're going to add a bit of sugar. You don't have to add sugar, but it's just going to give it that extra kick of sweetness, and it kind of helps it become really like sweet and sticky. Okay, chicken, let's check our chicken. How's your chicken looking? My chicken is looking pretty good. Skin is crisping up. I'm going to give it a little bit longer, and I'm going to turn the heat off, just because you're looking for lovely coloured, golden coloured chicken. What you can do is you can press your chicken down just to encourage it. Like you would on a barbecue, you want your chicken skin really, really crispy. Get that heat right up, don't be afraid of it. And what you'll notice is that there's a bit of fat that's collected from the chicken. We're going to get rid of a little bit of that. What I would recommend finally as one of your kitchen essential tools is these tongs. Tongs will give you much better control when you're cooking. They're almost like an extension of your hand, and it's a bit easier than like getting a wooden spoon and like being a bit awkward. So tongs are the way forward. This is more like it. It's starting to colour. Nice golden colour, can you see that? And we're just going to pour the fat that's collected away, because we don't want too much fat. So I'm just going to go to the sink now, don't waste too much. I'm going to get rid of about half of it. And keep that heat really high. Okay, we're going to need some water now. I've got about 3 tablespoons of water. Now, depending on what your oven's like, you know, some ovens, some hobs are hotter than others, so you are going to have to judge this by eye. But it's about 3 tablespoons. If you're not sure what 3 tablespoons is, it's 3 teaspoons per tablespoon. Teaspoon is like a regular teaspoon, slightly heated regular teaspoon. Okay, now it's time to add our jerk marinade. And before we do that, we need to get rid of our chicken, because our chicken is really crispy now. I'm going to put it on a plate. Skin side up. If you don't put it skin side up, then you're going to steam the crispy the chicken skin, and you're going to undo all of that brilliant crispiness that we've just worked so hard to get, so don't do that. Pan back on the heat, turn it down a little bit, and we're going to add our marinade. Give it a bit of space. Now we're going to add our water. So 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons, just to loosen it. going to add the chicken back to the pan. We're going to add it skin side up this time, because what we're going to do is we're going to cook the chicken in the marinade, but we're keeping the skins crispy. Okay, so just face down, pop it in the pan. So this is what you should have. Chicken, crispy, marinade underneath, and this marinade is going to steam the chicken and make sure it's like perfectly moist. Also, another good thing about chicken thighs, they just stay really moist. Okay, so we're just going to turn the heat up a tiny bit. That's looking good. And we're going to go into the oven. Now, I hope that your pans are oven-proof. They should be. Just make sure that you've got a tea towel to get it out. I don't want any injuries. I'm not taking any responsibility for injuries, unfortunately. Okay, so they go in to the oven for about 5 to 10 minutes, 8 minutes. It really depends on how good your oven is. Some ovens really vary, which is why at Gousto we always give a kind of guideline that you have to kind of check yourself. But 5 to 10 minutes. Ours quite hot. It's been on for a while. We've been cooking all day, so that should be about 5 minutes. Okay, question.
Steve says that every time he's tried to cook jerk chicken, it's come out quite dry. So what are your tips for making sure that doesn't happen?
I think Steve's probably cooking it for a little bit too long, I'd say. Don't be afraid of checking the chicken. The way that you check chicken is cooked is just by putting a knife inside it, and if the juice runs clear, then your chicken is cooked. Or, really, like a very simple way is just to get the chicken and cut it and see if it's not cooked, put it back. Chefs do it all the time. Just check it. Don't be afraid of it. Okay?
Tom says he's 35 and has never cooked in his life. Is it too late for him to start?
No, it's never, ever too late to start cooking. And the thing is I think the nice thing about Gousto is that, you know, we have these step-by-steps. You just follow them. If it's complicated or you think it's confusing anyway, then please just get in touch. We are very much open to suggestions, and we want to make your lives easier. It's never ever too late to cook. One thing I'd say about cooking, everybody sort of thinks it's all to do with, you know, they think it's all to do with like skills and what you learn at culinary college. It's not. It's actually just about practice. It's like riding a bike or learning to play piano. The more you practice, the more you cook, the more mistakes you make, the better cook you'll be. So it's just literally cook as much as you possibly can, and it's never too late to start.
Is there anything that you still find a bit tricky, that hard to master in the kitchen?
Oh God, yeah. I make mistakes all the time. I'm not a huge fan of butchery personally. I like filleting fish and things like that, but butchery has always been something that I struggle with, purely because it's quite difficult to identify where the bones are and things like that. So I'm not very strong at that, but like I say, I make a lot of mistakes and I learn from them in life and in cooking.
Well, we had a message from Anne who says that with the honey pot taking ages to pour out, she puts it in the microwave for a few seconds.
Well, that's a good tip.
So I think you've been offered a tip.
Oh, thanks, Anne. I'll bear that in mind. Also, with the honey, you can use the back of the teaspoon just to kind of scrape it out a little bit. Or sometimes, if there's water required in the recipe, just fill it with water, shake it about, hot water, shake it about, and then empty it out. But yeah, you can always reduce things. So I'm just going to check my rice. My rice and peas, looking pretty good. I'm just gonna fluff them a bit. Definitely check that all of the water's absorbed, and it is. Perfect rice and peas. And I'm also gonna just season it a little bit more. I'm using sea salt because it's slightly less harsh than the table salt, and lots of pepper. I'm a bit of a pepper fiend. Like I think I said in the last cook along that pepper, I read somewhere that it makes you happy. makes you a happier person. It's like an antidepressant, so always put loads of pepper in it.
Is it true that it's dangerous to reheat rice?
Yes, rice is actually, rice is the one thing, everyone, whenever they have food poisoning, they always think, oh, it's the meat or whatever. It actually tends to be the rice, so be really careful when you reheat rice. It has to be piping hot, and before you put it into the fridge, make sure it's completely cold. So if you do have leftover rice, keep it out of the fridge, let it go completely cold. When it's completely cold, put it in the fridge, and then when you reheat it, blast it, like make it really, really hot, and then don't reheat it again. So you've just got 1 outing of rice, 2 outings of rice. You can have leftover rice, but just make sure it's really hot. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely one thing that most people don't do. Rice, be wary. Just gonna check my chicken. Make sure you've got a clod. Chicken is looking, let's have a look. Don't touch the handle like I just did. You'll burn yourself. I have asbestos fingers, so it's okay. Okay, it's going to need a little bit more, a little bit longer. I'd say about 3 minutes longer. How's everyone getting on at home? Has anyone tweeted in pictures yet? Everybody remember?
Can everyone waiting so they've got the final product?
That's if you make a pretty plate of food, or even if your food doesn't look good and it tastes nice, just hashtag Gusto Pro, all one word. We absolutely love to see what you've made. It really is the best part of being Gusto chef and working for Gusto.
Claire's just even saying that she burnt the bottom of her rice. Have you got any tips for making sure that doesn't happen next time?
I just watch your heat, make sure, bring it to the boil and turn it right down to the lowest temperature you can, and just keep watching it. The only thing I'd say you can do to rescue it now is just don't serve the bottom bit of the rice. Sometimes it's kind of nice when it's like a tiny bit burnt, like, you know, depends how burnt it is. If it's really burnt, obviously the bottom, just serve the rest of the rice, but sometimes that delicious rice, like the cooked rice at the bottom, is sometimes the best bit. And actually in Persian cookery, what they do is they purposely overcook their rice at the bottom, and they kind of turn it upside down, and you kind of have this lovely like crust of rice on the top, and they kind of serve it like that, and then they kind of slice it up. So not always a disaster. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that my board is really clean, because we're going to transfer the chicken onto it. The cooked chicken, and it sits there while we reduce the sauce. So checking my chicken now.
What are you checking for exactly?
So what I'm looking for, one thing you can do is you take the chicken out of the pan and you kind of touch it. If it feels really soft, like really, really soft, then it's probably not cooked. If it's kind of got a bit of bounce to it, then the chicken's cooked. My chicken's cooked. It's still moist. Chicken thighs will be a bit pink. Don't be afraid of that. Chicken breast is always going to be white, but chicken thighs going to be a little bit pink. That's what keeps it moist and delicious. Okay, my marinade I'm going to put right back on the hob. And we're just going to reduce this till it's really sticky. So high heat. If there's not much water left, I'd suggest adding a tiny bit more water, or you basically don't need to reduce it much more. So high heat, my rice is cooked. Time to get plates out, do a bit of the peeling up. This is the stage where I should have had one here's one I made earlier, but we don't need that because it's going to be perfect. Okay, so my chicken, you're going to want to slice it. Have a sharp knife, always have a sharp knife.
How can you sharpen your knife?
Sharpen your knife every single day. A sharp knife is your friend. A lot of people are really scared of sharp knives because it's like, oh my god, it's really sharp, it's really scary. But actually, having a sharp knife will give you a much easier time in the kitchen, because if you have a blunt knife, you're kind of putting more force on it, which means that you're more likely, if you do hurt yourself, you're putting loads of force on it. A sharp knife, it's going to give you a lot more control, and generally help you out. It's your best friend, you know. Okay. My sword, I can hear it. It's kind of, you want it to kind of bubble and reduce to like a sticky glaze. Mine is nearly there, I'd say like 1 minute more. And I'm going to start slicing up my chicken. What I tend to do is I get a fork to hold it in place. And you want to make really nice, you can feel the skin is really crispy still, because it's not touched the marinade. I don't know what you're saying. Fine. Okay, so I'm just going to cut my chicken up, ready for plating. Don't touch the chicken, it's going to be really, really hot. Unless you have asbestos fingers like me. And I can hear my sauce, it's calling me. Okay, so that's perfect. Turn the heat on. Turn the oven on. And you want it to be just bubbling, kind of loose so that you've got enough. Can you guys see that? Don't know if you can see that, but it's going to be like just kind of like almost like honey consistency. Okay. Right, it's time to plate. The best bit, my favourite bit. Okay, I'm just going to finish cutting this chicken. And then, we got any more questions, Kira?
Is there anything in the world that you don't enjoy cooking, or do you just love every dish? Every dish and then
I do. I like cooking. I like. Yeah. That's a really difficult question. I would probably say, really, the only thing that I really don't like cooking, probably soup, like pureed soup. That boring kind of like, you know, it's just a bit dull. I'm not a massive soup person. I like texture in my food, hence crispy chicken. Soups I do like, I've got like we do a really good one with, it's like pepper, red pepper, tomato, it's really fiery, and we put a cheese toasty in it, so stuff like that. That's great. But yeah, soup in general, like bland, unseasoned soup is not really my bag. I will cook it if I have to though. Okay, so I've got my rice and peas. I would recommend when you're plating, I mean this is a really rustic dish, but get a really big spoon. It's going to make plating the dish easier because you're kind of like putting it all in one in the center. And then with presentation, you just want to pile it in the middle, don't go around the sides. You kind of want to get some height on it.
Do you think this would be a dish that would be easy enough to serve to more than 4 people?
Yeah, this is a great dish for parties because there's only 2 elements. So you've got your rice and peas, and you've got your chicken, and you've got your sauce. I say when you're cooking for like large numbers, go really simple. It's just so much easier. You're not stressed, and like rice, you know, rice feeds so many people. It's just relaxed. Never cook anything at a dinner party that you haven't tried before, I'd say. Be really confident in what you're making. Keep it simple, and also make something that you want to eat because I really believe that if you want to eat it, the passion kind of comes out in your food. You know, does that make sense? Yeah. You can kind of almost taste it. Okay. So can you, yeah, you can see my rice and peas, a lot of rice and peas. So I've got my rice and peas. Chicken, what I do is I'd kind of use your knife and I would kind of use it to almost like pick up loads of chicken, lay it on like that, skin side up, just in a nice line. I mean, you can do it any way you want. I love seeing how everyone plays. It's very personal. But you know, just relaxed and informal. But it's nice to have height on a dish. Last bits of chicken here. And then that's it. And then the sauce. Use a tablespoon and then start drizzling all over the chicken. This is our really spicy sauce. Whether you're going to carnival or not, you've still had a bit of a party in the kitchen. Okay, so why doesn't everybody come in and try it? I'm just going to move this board out the way. How's everyone on at home? We really want to see your pictures. That is your jerk chicken. Can you see that? There we go, glistening. Yeah, everybody try it. How's everyone got on at home? We want to see the pictures. I'm just going to move this out of the way. They haven't eaten all day, so I starved them. Nice? Mm. So yeah, hashtag Gousto Pro. I hope you did it better than me. I want to see that you've done it better than me. Winning a month, is it month's worth of Gousto? Month's worth of Gousto recipes. If that's not an incentive, I don't know what is. Whether you're going to carnival or not, have an amazing weekend, and yeah, we'll see you very soon. Thank you. Bye.